Hello, everybody. This is Sci-Fi Sunday, where we talk about something sci-fi related. And today we're going to be talking about the MCU and the reason that Deadpool will be destroying the MCU. So let's jump right into it. So Deadpool 3's trailer is supposed to hit next week at the Super Bowl. And with this, we're going to possibly get a lot more information, although it is the Deadpool series, so who knows what type of information we're actually going to be getting from it. It could be just something comical that tells us absolutely nothing, because Deadpool has done this before famously. In fact, MCU kind of does this on occasion anyway, but Deadpool has always been one of those characters that you never know what type of advertisement you're going to get. And that's kind of exciting as a fan to think about. Will we get to know some of the plot of this movie? But I have heard a few rumors. One rumor that I heard is that this is going to take place a few years later. We're going to see Deadpool in an entirely different position. And then all of a sudden he's going to find himself trapped in the multiverse. And he's going to at one point get captured by the TVA. He's going to get sent to the place where a lot of the Loki series took place. So you're going to have all these variants all around, and that place is kind of acting as your battle world, if you will. And we know that this whole thing is supposed to lead into Secret Wars, that this has been told to us for a long time, that Deadpool's supposed to lead into Secret Wars. But here's the thing about this. I don't know how much of what I've heard is true, but I do have a theory as to why they're doing this now. Why now? When you look at the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the Marvel Cinematic Universe has had a very successful run. They have done very well for themselves, and they've been able to reinvent themselves a few times over when they needed to. However, with each new time that they do this, they are increasing the odds of not being able to do it again. And they didn't always own some of the characters that they wanted to use, like the Fantastic Four and the X-Men. They weren't able to use those characters. And with that, we know that they can now. And they're going to take full advantage of that. For example, I heard that Wolverine was supposed to appear in the original Captain America movie, and it didn't happen. And the reason it didn't happen is they couldn't secure the rights to Wolverine. There's also the rumor that Spider-Man was supposed to be in the first Avengers movie, and they couldn't get the rights to Spider-Man. And that's just the thing. They didn't have the rights to use everything that they wanted to use. And by the time they actually get the rights to use everything that they want to use, a lot of the actors have quit. You have no more Chris Evans. You have no more Robert Downey for various reasons. Either an actor feels they've gotten too old for the role, they feel they want to move on from the role, or just storyline dictated that that character was done and may now dictate that that character comes back. However, how do you do this? If you can't secure those same actors to come back, or they are too old to come back and be there for another 15 years, how do you go forward? Well, in the Marvel comics, there was always that multiple dimensions. There was always the opportunity for the characters to have a reemergence, maybe younger, maybe, just slightly different. But, you can chalk that up to comic books. However, in a cinematic universe, when you're dealing with multiverse, it makes it very easy to do this variant thing, where not all the variants look the same. And we could get a variant of Iron Man coming in, a variant of Captain America coming in. And these people would look exactly the same to everybody else, because the dimension that they were in no longer exists, and everybody just sort of knows them from this dimension that they're in. It's like they've always been here. The older version just didn't happen. Now, us as fans, it doesn't take away from our enjoyment as fans because we know that it was simple recast. But the fact that the other people wouldn't even address it is something that would make sense then, because you could just say, oh, well, the reason Iron Man now looks like Tom Cruise is that Iron Man has always looked like Tom Cruise to them. Even though to us he looked like Robert Downey. Whoever they decide to recast in these parts, it would be that type of thing. It would be that particular person that has always existed for the people in the movies. And Deadpool is a very important factor in this because he has commented several times over in his own movies on the various casting choices, saying the timeline is so confusing, talking about the various actors who played the roles. It allows for them to do this. And with him doing this movie where he's going to be working along with Wolverine, who of course has to be the Wolverine that he is obsessed with. It has to be Hugh Jackman. To see them working together to destroy the Marvel Cinematic Universe is going to be one of those things. But that's the reason they're doing it, is so that in the future they can potentially recast this and have everything kind of be successful. They know what they're doing going forward. But this also allows for some other things to happen. This also allows for us to know that people like the X-Men have always existed in this timeline. They don't have to explain things. People like the Fantastic Four have always existed in this timeline, and they don't have to explain that. But it is fun to think about how they could do this and how they could spin this. Is Deadpool going to be responsible for bringing the mutants into the cinematic universe directly? Is it going to be because of the timeline getting messed up by the things that Deadpool and Wolverine do in this movie? Everything that they do has to be successful here, and they have to do it in a way that's going to make it easy for fans to understand. They can't do this and have it be ultra confusing. And I think that's where Deadpool makes things easier, because Deadpool has always been that person that talks directly to the fans, directly to you and me, and lets us know what he thinks is going on. And that's an important part of this movie. So I think that's what they're doing here, and why it's important that this movie is there. And that's everything we know kind of about what's been going on in this movie. So to have that be what they use, to have them use Deadpool to let the fans know what's going on in the future of the MCU, I think is an absolute stroke of genius. But let me know your theories on what you think is going to happen in this movie. How far do you think Deadpool and Wolverine go into destroying the MCU? Do you think that they're going to run into actual timelines that we've seen before? Do you think it's going to be a standalone where they won't run into any times we've seen before? Do you think that they're going to be responsible for bringing the X-Men into the cinematic universe? Do you think they're responsible for bringing the Fantastic Four into the cinematic universe? But I want to know what you guys think. So as always, leave a comment in the comment box below. Make sure to share this video with all of your friends. Make sure you hit that like button. It's free. It helps the channel. Miko says we need more subscribers. You don't want to disappoint Miko. And friends, at the end of the day, I know you know, and Miko knows that fandom is family.